Hello, once again, Kenny Jacobs from Bloomington, Illinois. Going to do another video this evening talking about current events as it relates to Bible prophecy. And I'm going to start off talking a little bit about Israel again and what's going on in the Middle East. And I have an important news story I want to read out of the Times of Israel about the Obama administration and how it relates. But first, I want to give some background information, because I've said in numerous videos in the past, I don't understand why with only one Jewish state on the entire planet, the Muslim people, the Arabs, feel like they have to have Israel. There are, as of 2010, there are 49 countries where the Muslim religion is the majority. 49. And 22 of them surround Israel. I'm going to name just a few. I'll name a lot of them. Israel is surrounded by, and these are all Muslim nations: Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Somalia, Ethiopia, Sudan, Egypt, Libya, Chad, Niger, Nigeria, Mali, Algeria, Morocco. There's 22 Muslim nations surrounding little tiny Israel, about the size of New Jersey. There was one Jewish state. And that land was promised and given to the Jewish people by no one other than God himself. And in Genesis 12:3, it says that God says that to Abraham he's going to make him a great nation, and he will bless those that bless thee and curse those that curse thee. And again, up until recently, America has always stood behind Israel and has been a great ally to Israel. But a lot has changed since the Obama administration took over. And so here's an article out of the Times of Israel today. Top Obama official blasts Israel for denying Palestinians sovereignty, security, and dignity. It says, how can Israel have peace if it's unwilling to delineate a border, end the occupation? Asks White House Mideast Chief Philip Gordon in a blistering Tel Aviv speech. It says, Israel's ongoing occupation of the West Bank is wrong and leads to regional instability and dehumanization of Palestinians, a top government official said Tuesday in Tel Aviv, hinting that the current Israeli government is not committed to peace. Apparently, though, according to the United States government, Abbas, the Palestinians, and Hamas are apparently committed to peace. In an unusually harsh major foreign policy address, Philip Gordon, a special assistant to Barack Obama and the White House coordinator for the Middle East, appealed to Israeli and Palestinian leaders to make compromises needed to reach a permanent peace agreement. Jerusalem should not take for granted the opportunity to negotiate such a treaty with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, who has proven to be a reliable partner. Are you kidding me? He's so reliable that I believe it was 15 international agreements he signed, and then he does the unity agreement with Hamas, who's now continually firing rockets into Israel. It says Israel confronts an undeniable reality. It cannot maintain military control of another people indefinitely. Doing so is not only wrong, but a recipe for resentment and recurring instability, Gordon said. It will embolden extremists on both sides, tear at Israel's democratic fabric, and feed mutual dehumanization. Gordon reiterated Obama's position that a final status agreement should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed land swaps. The administration is aware that Israel is facing threats on several fronts, and Obama remains committed to Israel's security, he said. The United States will always have Israel's back. That's why we fight for it every day at the United Nations, he said. But as Israel's greatest friend and strongest defender, Washington should be allowed to ask some fundamental questions, he said. How will Israel remain democratic and Jewish if it attempts to govern the millions of Palestinian Arabs who live in the West Bank? How will it have peace if it's unwilling to delineate a border and end the occupation and allow for Palestinian sovereignty, security, and dignity? How will we prevent other states from supporting Palestinian efforts in international bodies if Israel is not seen as committed to peace? The past few weeks show that the inability to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict inevitably means more tension, more resentment, more injustice, more insecurity, more tragedy, and more grief, he said. And the sight of grieving families, Israeli and Palestinian alike, reminds us that the cost of this conflict remains extremely high. Alright, I'm going to post that in the description box so you can read the rest of this article yourself. But again, God gave Israel that land. Read the Bible. It's all throughout the Bible. That land belongs to the Jewish people, not the Palestinians. And there is so much there's so much Muslim land all around Israel. It's really frustrating that this is going on. And I want to look at Zechariah chapter 12 real quick. Verse 1, the burden of the word of the Lord for Israel. Not for Palestine, for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretches forth the heavens and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth shall be gathered together against it. God has warned not to divide the land of Israel. And he promises judgment to any nation. In fact, Zechariah 12:9 says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. We can see that day approaching very, very soon. Let's go to another article out of the Times of Israel today. Scroll down here. This one is titled, Israeli Army Ready to Go All the Way in Gaza. And of course the fighting today over there has gotten pretty heavy. Netanyahu says the gloves are off. Hamas will pay a heavy price, Defense Minister declares. Special security situation. With airstrikes in the Gaza Strip and rocket fire at southern Israel showing no sign of abating Tuesday, Israeli leaders warned that if the attacks didn't stop, the IDF could launch a land invasion against Hamas, which it blames for the recent escalation in violence. Following a meeting with the heads of Israel's security establishment, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the gloves are off. Hamas chose this escalation and will pay a heavy price. He instructed the army to launch a continuous, methodical, and forceful campaign against the terrorist group in the Gaza Strip. The directive to the Israeli Defense Force is to be ready to go all the way, adding that even a ground operation was on the table. The purpose of Operation Protective Edge is to exact a heavy price from Hamas, to hit it hard, and to create a significant attack that will lead to deterrence. The IDF has the authority to do whatever necessary to restore quiet to the south. The IDF has a free hand to act with whatever steps it determines. The political leadership has effectively authorized everything the IDF has requested. Again, I'll go ahead and post this into the description box. Again, we can see that this is certainly escalating. And the Psalm 83 war looks like it's on the horizon, no question about it. Again, the Muslims, and specifically Hamas, again, Hamas has it in their charter that they want to wipe Israel off the map. And Psalm 83, verse 4, Psalm 83:4 says, "They have said, come, let us," here, let's go back to 3. Verse 3 says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee." Again, this situation is just really escalating. Guys, this is a major wake-up call. If you know anything about end-time Bible prophecy, God is showing us the signs of the times are definitely all coming together. And with that, I want to go over 2 more stories. This one is out of Prophecy News Watch newsletter. And actually, what I want to do, I want to touch on an article from yesterday that I talked briefly about at the end of the video, and then go over a second article. I touched on this one yesterday, but I put it at the very end of a 25-minute long video, and I'm not sure everybody had a chance to actually hear that part of it. So, it says, Portland looks to block Christian children's ministry because it's psychologically harmful to children. I just want to touch on this one again real quick because I put it in yesterday's video. But this is a major deal. This is happening in the United States of America. A Christian nonprofit Child Evangelism Fellowship is facing opposition in Portland, Oregon, as it seeks to bring youth to Christ. The Good News Club is what it's called. Is being called psychologically harmful to children by a newly formed coalition, Protect Portland Children. The Good News Youth Ministry is in which children are taught about sin, Jesus, and holiness through engaging songs, games, and Bible stories. An attorney and blogger, Eric Heiner, wrote on his Intrinsic Dignity blog that the club uses shame and fear indoctrination, thought control, attacks on science education, authoritarian conditioning, and deceptive marketing to negatively influence students. He said that the Good News Club is not appropriate for young children. Apparently, it's no longer appropriate for young children in the United States to be taught about sin, Jesus, and holiness. Guys, if that doesn't wake you up about where we're at in this nation and what's going on, I don't know what will. So, let's look at another story, very similar. This is also out of the Prophecy News Watch newsletter. It says, warning, biblical views may cost your job. Chase Bank surveys staff for LGBT loyalty. A second source has confirmed that J.P. Morgan Chase has asked each of its employees whether they are an ally of the LGBT community, which employees have taken as a veiled threat. Each year, J.P. Morgan Chase sends its employees a survey asking questions related to management and other non-controversial issues. A longtime Chase employee told that the survey this year included the following questions for the first time. Are you, 1, a person with disabilities? 2, a person with children with disabilities? 3, a person with a spouse or domestic partner with disabilities? 4, a member of the LGBT community. 5, an ally of the LGBT community, but not personally identifying as LGBT. This employee was alarmed to receive the final question. He answered no. If he answered no, he feared he would be opened up to criticism that may affect his employment. Only a few months ago, Brendan Ike was hounded out of the CEO role of Mozilla for not supporting LGBT marriage. The employee told Professor George he fears his job. The survey wasn't anonymous. You had to enter your employee ID. With the way things are going and the fact that LGBT rights are being viewed as pretty much tantamount to the civil rights movement of the mid-50s or late 60s, not selecting that option is essentially saying, I'm not an ally of civil rights. Let's see. And which is a vague way to say I'm a bigot. The worry among many of us is that those who didn't select that poorly placed, irrelevant option will be placed on the "you can fire these people first" list. The source told him, "I just wanted to confirm the Chase employee survey did not have the last two options, but being an LBGT ally, I have worked for Chase for a number of years and was blown away by this question. I have no idea what they were thinking when they asked that. If this is posted, please spare my identity." And the response from J.P. Morgan Chase was that we do not comment on internal surveys. But you can see that society is getting to the point where it's completely intolerant of the Christian biblical viewpoint. Now to the point where they're even calling it psychologically harmful to children. And forcing you to make a decision at your workplace whether you're going to go along with that agenda or not. And again, like this says, if you do not, there's a good chance you'll lose your job. If you want to stand up for your belief in the Judeo-Christian values and biblical principles. It's amazing how far this nation has fallen. But it's just another sign that we're living in the last days. Jesus Christ told us that there would come a point in time where people that would kill you would think they were doing God's service. We're getting close to that point right now. Christians are being martyred all over the world. And without a doubt, our Christian rights are being taken away from us at a rapid rate here in the United States. Again, another major wake-up call that we are living in the last days. If you do not know Jesus Christ as your Savior, He is the only way to God. Every other way is sinking sand. There is one way only. And I'm going to preach that as long as I'm on this earth, as long as I can, because we are in the last days and He's your only hope. All the signs are here. Keep looking up. God bless everyone.